when the shield-bearing warrior was destined to go against foes. Then the protector of earls commanded 8 horses with gold-plated bridles to be led into the hall, into the house. On one of them they lay a saddle artfully adorned, decked with costly ornament. That was the war seat of the noble king, when the son of Healfdene was minded to practice swordplay. Never did the bravery of the far-famed man fail in the van when corpses were falling. Then the protector of the friends of Ing gave power over both to Beowulf, over horses and weapons. He bade him use them well. Thus manfully did the precious prince, the treasure keeper of heroes, reward the rushes of battle with the steeds and rich stores, so that he who wishes to speak truth in seemly fashion will never scoff at them. Further, the Lord of Earls bestowed treasure on the mead bench, ancient blades, to each of those who traveled the ocean path with Beowulf, and he bade recompense to be made with gold for the one whom Grendel before murderously killed. So he was minded to do with more of them, if wise God and the man's courage had not turned aside such a fate from them. The Lord ruled over all mankind as he still does, wherefore understanding forethought of soul is everywhere best. He who sojourns long in the world in these days of strife must needs suffer much of weal and woe. There was song and music mingled before Healfdene's chieftain. The harp was touched, a measure often recited at such times as it fell to Hrothgar's minstrel to proclaim joy in hall along the mead bench. Hniaf of the Silidings, a hero of the Healfdenes, was fated to fall in the Frisian battlefield when the sudden onslaught came upon them, the sons of Finn. Nor in truth had Hildebert cause to praise the faith of the Etons. Sinless, she was spoiled of her dear ones at the shield play, a son and a brother. Wounded with the spear, they fell in succession. She was a sorrowing woman. Not without cause did the daughter of Hok lament her fate. When morning came, when she might see the slaughter of kinsmen under the sky, where erstwhile he had the greatest joy in the world, war carried off all the thanes of Finn, except a very few, so that in no wise could he offer fight to Hengest in the battlefield, nor protect by war the sad survivors from the prince's thane, but they offered them conditions that they would give up to them entirely another building, the hall and high seat, that they might have power over half of it, with the men of the Etons, and that the son of Folkwada should honor the Danes each day with gifts at the bestowal of presents, would pay respect to Hengest's troop with rings, just as much as he would encourage the race of Frisians in the beer hall with ornaments of plated gold. Then On both sides they had faith in firm-knit peace. Finn swore to Hengest deeply, inviolably with oaths, that he would treat the sad survivors honorably according to the judgment of the councillors, that no man there should break the bond by word or deed, nor should they ever mention it in malice, although they had followed the slayer of their giver of rings after they had lost their leader, since the necessity was laid upon them, if then any one of the Frisians should recall to mind by dangerous speech the deadly hostility, then must the edge of the sword settle it. The oath was sworn, and rich gold taken from the treasure. The best of the heroes of the warlike Silidings was ready on the funeral pyre. On that pyre the blood-stained shirt of mail was plain to see, the swine image all gold, the boar hard as iron, many a chieftain slain with wounds. Many had fallen in the fight. Then Hildebert bade her own son to be given over to the flames at Hniaf's pyre, his body to be burned and placed on the funeral fire. The woman wept, sorrowing by his side. She lamented in measures. The warrior mounted up. The greatest of funeral fires wound up to the clouds. It roared in front of the mound. Heads melted. Wounds burst open, while blood gushed forth from the gnashes in the bodies. The fire, greediest of spirits, consumed all those of both peoples whom war carried off there. Their mightiest men had departed. The warriors went then, bereft of friends, to visit the dwellings, to see the land of the Frisians, the homes, and the stronghold. Then Hengest dwelt yet in peace with Finn, though very unhappily, for a winter stained with the blood of the slain. He thought of his land, though he could not drive the ring-proud ship on the sea. The ocean surged with storm, rose up against the wind. Winter bound the waves with fetters of ice, till another year came into the dwellings, as those still do now who ever await an opportunity, the bright, clear weather. Then winter was past, the bosom of the earth was fair, the exile purposed to depart, the guest out of the castle. He thought rather of vengeance for sorrow than of sea journey, if he could bring the battle to pass, in which he might show he remembered the sons of Etons. So he let things take their course, when Hunlafing laid in his bosom the gleaming sword, best of blades. Its edges were famed among the Etons. Even so did deadly death by the sword come upon brave Finn in his own home, when Guthalf and Oslaf, after their sea journey, sorrowfully lamented the grim attack. They were wroth at their manifold woes. Their restless spirit could not be ruled in their breast. Then was the hall reddened with the corpses of foes. Finn slain likewise, the king mid his troop, and the queen taken. The warriors of the Sinladings bore to the ships all the house treasure of the king of the land, whatever they could find at Finn's home of ornaments and jewels. They bore away on the sea voyage the noble woman to the Danes, led her to her people. The song was sung, the gleeman's measure. Joy rose again. Bench music rang out clear. Servants gave out wine from wondrous goblets.